Welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter. Today is August 27th, 2026, and we have the pleasure of having Ashley Snow talk to us today at our BA Masterclass. She's going to talk to us about the Salesforce BA Advantage, turning business problems into platform solutions. I'm excited to hear this because, Salesforce is a big deal. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the president of this chapter. My job here is really to help you. If you need assistance, if you need advice, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll make time for you. Let me tell you about the IIBA, just in case you don't know. The International Institute of Business Analysis is the global standard-setting body for business analysis. We support a community of over 30,000 professional members across 120 chapters worldwide. We are working towards certifications that are grounded in the Babok Guide, the Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, an internationally adopted framework that defines best practices for our work. It gives us a common vocabulary. It gives us common techniques so that we can work with people literally all over the world. In addition to that, there are 4 certifications in specialty areas. If you want information about any of these, feel free to reach out. So what are the benefits of you joining the IIBA? You get access to training provided by chapters around the world. You get complimentary access to over 25,000 outstanding books, including the Babok, along with webinars and additional resources. And you get discounts on certification exams, some of which are the amount of your membership. So you get all of this basically free. The IIBA chapters are in major cities around the world. If there is not an active chapter near you, we can talk about you starting a chapter. Wouldn't you like to be the founding member? Or you're welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA. Members of the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter are not restricted to residents of Florida. In fact, we have participants literally all around the globe. If you do not have an IIBA chapter, Tampa Bay could be your chapter. Our vision here at the Tampa Bay IIBA is building a thriving community of empowered business analysts. So why would you choose to join the Tampa Bay chapter? We offer multiple training sessions each week, including CBAP prep and coaching and an acclaimed SDLC workshop, among other things. You can view our upcoming events at our website and updates posted across LinkedIn and Facebook. And at the end of 2025, we had presented well over 300 events here during our BA Masterclasses and to organizations around the world. Those events, many of them are on YouTube, but that's a lot. So Bob Churchill at rpchurchill.com has created an index. We call it Bob's Amazing Index, and it has access to our website, our YouTube, our LinkedIn, and an index to all of those things on YouTube, including the names of the speakers, the dates of the speakers, and the topics of the speakers. It's pretty impressive. As a result of putting on all those trainings and mentoring over 100 individuals each year, Tampa Bay chapter was awarded the Global IIBA Award for Professional Development Excellence, the one award they give for that each year. This is our esteemed board. I'm so very proud of the efforts of each one, and I apologize. This slide does not show Will Powers. He is our new Vice President of Digital Assets and Emerging Technologies. These folks work pretty tirelessly to help you achieve your goals in business analysis. We currently have 2 CBAP training classes underway. They are coming to the end of their cycle, but these folks have been studying together every week for 7 months. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results of those tests. A result of all these things that we've done, these students have reached out to tell us since 2021 that our training and mentoring was a big part of their success in achieving their certifications. Many on this list are past participants of our CBAP study group. Several studied along with us using only our YouTube videos. Of these 32, a good number have gone on to lead IIBA chapters here and organizations around the world because we make leaders here. We also have our second book on Amazon. This is Business Analysis, Bridging the Gap Across the Industries, 12 more industries with case studies, what the governing bodies are, information you would want to know as a new BA walking into one of those new industries, or just learning about business analysis. I want to take a moment to appreciate all of our partners. Our number one partner group, though, is you. Those people who participate and are members of our Tampa Bay IIBA organization. We also are partnered with over a dozen other IIBA chapters worldwide, and we're mentoring 4 chapters that are just forming. We're partnered with organizations in the UK, for instance, the Doback Group, and organizations in Tampa Bay. We're partnered with several organizations that are recruiting companies and several organizations that are training companies. We're also partnered with Purdue University, in particular, Purdue University's Virtual AI Master's Program. As a result of all those partnerships, you have some discounts because you're participating with us. Watermark Learning has given us a 40% discount off of their products, including this is their test bank that we have used successfully for our training classes for years. This turns into about $1 a day for unlimited access to you figuring out what you need to study to be able to pass your certifications for the BACOE. Adaptive US has also given us a 20% discount on their products. Next week, we have Tom coming to talk to us about AI. It says AI can ask, AI can answer, tools to help you practice solicitation. The following week, I'm also very excited about this. Chris Barr has spent about 4 decades in data governance. If you have ever heard that data has to be clean and well structured to do well, this is the part that comes before that. You have to have reference data. It's the foundation of how organizations communicate, report, and make decisions. Chris has so much information. Every time he talks, I learn something. And then on the 17th of September, Scott Ambler, a well-known author, is going to come talk to us about how to pick the right AI algorithm for your context. That sounds kind of odd, but I want you to understand Scott knows things about data, he knows things about Agile, and he knows things about AI that most of us will never ever get to learn. So I'm really looking forward to seeing his combination of these. So to keep up with our events, subscribe to our events on our website, tampabay.iiba.org, select events, and then subscribe to notifications. We can also get you information if you've joined our LinkedIn group, the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter in Florida, USA. And of course, there's all the information on our YouTube group and our Bob's Amazing Index. So I'm going to turn it over now to Ashley Snow to talk about Salesforce and all the things we need to know as BAs. Take it away, Ashley.
Thanks, Thea. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if we're just seeing the deck.
I can see your deck.
Perfect. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming to my session, the Strategic Salesforce BA Driving Expertise or Enterprise Transformation. I am Ashley Snow, thrilled to be here with you tonight. Whether you're looking or currently working inside the Salesforce ecosystem as an admin, developer, consultant, or coming from a traditional business analysis background, looking to expand your footprint into enterprise cloud solutions. Tonight's presentation is designed to give you a practical framework that bridges executive strategy, technical delivery, and measurable ROI. Over the next 40 minutes, we're going to break down how to move past basic requirement gathering, how to navigate complex technology shifts like industry cloud migrations and Agentforce AI, and how to position yourself as an indispensable strategic leader on every project you touch. Let's start by taking a look at who I am and what we're going to cover today. A little bit about me. I hold a master's of business administration and engineering management, as well as a bachelor of science in public relations and advertising. Although technically I do hold 8 Salesforce certifications. I'm an active member of the IIBA Tampa Bay chapter and am pursuing my CBAP as well. In my consulting work across major enterprise implementations, my core focus has always been bridging high-level C-suite strategy with practical technical execution. During my time as a consultant at Plative, I was recognized as Game Changer of the Month for Client Delivery Excellence and have been awarded um, with Tampa Bay IIBA's SDLC simulation with the last year simulation team. Most importantly, my approach centers on hard business outcomes such as streamlining operational reporting that cuts weekly cycle times down 83% with a reduction in administrative overhead. Tonight, we're going to focus on structuring our discussion into 6 core agenda items shown on your screen. First, the Salesforce ecosystem. What is it? And establish that architectural foundation. The sales to delivery trap and strategic alignment, moving from that statement of work to true business value. Root cause analysis and quantifiable baseline KPIs. This is going to diagnose systematic friction beyond surface requests. That platform evolution, because Salesforce is changing. Growing into your enterprise AI readiness and consumption economics, managing that agent force, data governance, and token pricing models. Finally, our 5 pillars of strategic BA leadership, wrapping it up with an actionable core execution principles, followed by some Q&A. If you guys do have any questions during my speech today, feel free to interrupt and we can chat about questions that may come to the top of your mind. First of all, I wanted to dive in what is Salesforce. To evaluate those business problems effectively, a strategic BA must first understand the architectural landscape of modern Salesforce platform. It's no longer just a basic CRM where sales reps track leads and deals. It has evolved into a massive enterprise cloud ecosystem. We're going to look at this architecture diagram that I've made. At the absolute center of the modern ecosystem sits Data Cloud. Data Cloud, and I apologize, functionality originally with the Salesforce ecosystem sat with its Sales Cloud. It's going to capture your leads, your opportunities, your constituents, and then from there, they've built on everything and expanded into different industries as well as capturing several different other platforms such as Slack and things that are now built into Salesforce. One of those things is Data Cloud. It acts as a unified data engine, ingesting structured and unstructured data from across an enterprise, the ERP system, external databases, legacy servers, and web interactions. This all creates a real-time customer 360-degree view without copying data into a single-use custom fields. Layered directly on top of that, newly, is Agentforce, which of course Salesforce is moving towards. Salesforce's autonomous AI layer. This allows the organization to deploy intelligent AI agent that interacts with customers, routes cases, executes multi-step workflows dynamically through that Einstein trust layer. Surrounding this core are purposely built industry clouds on top of our Sales Cloud, which then can add your Service Cloud, and then you're looking at cases. In our industry clouds, we have different items like Nonprofit Cloud, which I'm very well versed with. We have Nonprofit Success Pack, which has not been retired. It's been no longer supported to where we're using Agentforce Nonprofit Cloud is our new name for Nonprofit Cloud. Again, everything keeps moving forward, updating with trends, the AI, and being rebuilt to where it's most useful. We have other examples of that: Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Health Cloud is something that I'm going to speak about. But all of these industry clouds that are specific to different industries. Also, on top of these industry clouds, I do want to mention the App Exchange. These are third-party integrations like Form Assembly and Conga. In the nonprofit world, there's different fundraising applications, all things that you can imagine being integrated into things related to Salesforce. As a business analyst, when we look at this ecosystem, our job is to ask, how do I leverage out of the box standard architecture to solve business problems rather than over engineering custom code that breaks during the next platform release? This brings us to our sales to delivery handoff. In the consulting world, which I have spent 5 years in, we have that project handoff. The sales team and our solutions architect spends weeks pitching a vision to executive stakeholders. The deal closes. We have the SOW. It's signed. The sales team drops the contract into delivery team's desk and says, okay, I sold you 500 licenses, 3 custom integrations, 10 automated flows, and a custom portal. How about that? Go build that one on time and under budget, right? So this is where we have our SOW delivery pitfall. If the project team jumps straight into building that sprint backlog based strictly off the SOW feature list, they fall right into that trap of creating accidental architecture. The things that look nice, but we don't necessarily need. Delivering those deliverables on time and under budget according to an SOW does not equal operational success. How many times have we been there? If 6 months after go live, users are still using shadow spreadsheets and data that's inaccurate, that project has now failed. To avoid this trap, our strategic BA grounds the discovery in our business analysis core concept model, which is something that I'm so excited to bring to my knowledge as a Salesforce business analyst and learning with the IIBA. With that, we pull the focus away from the solution and re-anchor it in the context, right? So what internal or external business pressures force this initiative? Why are we here? The need. What operational problem or opportunity must be solved? Value. What is the tangible financial or operational worth of solving that problem? Our stakeholders. Who is impacted? And what does success look like for them? In our playbook, we are going to execute 3 steps before touching configuration, right? Because I love configuration. I want to do that. But again, we can't do that until we find out what the need is. So we're going to have those interactive elicitation workshops, uncovering the true business capability needs rather just order taking, right? Because we're just going to put together an NPSP implementation and we're going to do it with our program management module. Before we do that, we still need to go back and uncover where are those pain points. What are the process that our constituents are using so that everything aligns. Second, our requirement traceability. We're going to link every single user story back to executive baseline KPIs. And our architectural guardrails. So we're going to enforce those standard out-of-the-box features so that we can prevent custom code bloat, right? Now we're going to examine how this playbook operates in a world practice. In the Salesforce ecosystem, BAs routinely encounter that build me a button syndrome. I know you're laughing. I just need a button. I just need a button to do it. A stakeholder walks into a discovery session and says, Ashley, I need a custom object, a homepage screen flow button that lets our team log updates and update 15 fields at once. First, 15 fields, my goodness. And as an order taker, the analyst writes down that requirement and hands it to a developer. A strategic BA is going to recognize that stakeholders are experts in their daily pain, but rarely experts in data architecture. Instead of building the requested button, we're going to apply those 5 whys, right? Why? Why are we doing this? Why is that happening? When we ran the 5 whys on a recent client engagement where users complained about missing reports and data entry burdens, we discover that number 1, users aren't entering data because they're forced to navigate to 18 redundant custom fields. Secondly, we're manually copying and pasting data between external form tools that integrate, like Form Assembly or Conga, that are then passed into your core CRM. The root cause isn't a missing button or that we needed a button. It's that we have a process fragmentation, right? Are those data fields being populated at the right place? Are they 2 fields on 2 different objects that are both text? Do they feed to each other? Is the data from our external being placed into the correct field, right? All the things. Once that root cause is diagnosed, we're going to want to establish the quantifiable baseline KPIs. You cannot prove project success unless you measure operational performance before you build. And this is one of the big things as a consultant in the Salesforce space that we often miss out on, right? On this engagement, we've streamlined the fragmented workflows into standard platform processes. Ended up by doing that, the cycle time was reduced by 83%. Great. Now that gives our end users the ability to focus on something else more important than filling out 18 fields, right? So we're going to take that process turnaround time from days down to hours. Documenting those baseline metrics up front gives you the hard data that you're going to need to audit and prove your ORI post go live. To maintain the project control and protect our system health, enterprise teams must establish clear governance by decoupling the solution domain from the project domain. We've heard this over and over, right? The solution domain is owned by the business analyst. We relentlessly focus on what to build and why. We're aligning those business capabilities to optimize the underlying processes. We're safeguarding the data model scalability, object integrity, and platform health. We're also going to drive that user adoption, change enablement, and measurable business outcomes, right? We want to make sure that our end users know what the change is going to be and how to approach it, how to continue with the function, and how to adjust to their new processes. We're also going to enforce that requirement traceability and perform value verification audits. The project domain, however, is going to be owned by that project manager. The PM's focus is how and when to deliver. They're managing our project scope, contractual budgets, resource allocation, and timeliness. They are tracking our sprint backlog velocity and delivery milestones. And they're also the clear operational blockers and manage that stakeholder status update. We want to make sure that these two domains are when these two domains are blurred. For instance, if a team gets an aggressive delivery timeline that we as a BA that knows that domain, if we know it's going to take longer, we're going to make sure that our PM knows so that they can communicate that. Or if it needs to come to that minimum viable product, right? Do we need to focus on our core application and then add the rest to our backlog? Now we're going to address our platform evolution and architectural modernization. For years, we've relied heavily on third-party managed packages or heavy build custom code. In sectors like healthcare and nonprofit, legacy systems were built with custom objects, complex code triggers, and package locks that create massive technical debt. When organizations attempt to migrate to a modern Salesforce standard architecture, such as nonprofit cloud or health cloud, sometimes their data models are misaligned. This can cause immense friction, expensive rework, and inflated scope. As a strategic BA, we executed the modernization and stewardship playbook. First, we have that comprehensive data and case note discovery. Here, in my experience, I've had a client who just knew that they want the new health cloud, right? Because it's going to solve the needs that we have. It's shiny, right? We want all the new shiny things. And here, in this example, my client who is in the C-suite wanted to record their case notes. So all the interactions from our patients, but we want to record those in the activity section so it appears front and center on our client's page. I can see who it is, I can see who they are, and now I have all their case notes in chronological order. I can see what we've talked about. Unfortunately, as a Salesforce BA, I have your minimum certification, right? So our system admin certification gives us details on the very basics. As a Salesforce BA, I know that in our activity section, we're recording things like phone calls, events, emails, and then we can also track those as tasks that need to come up. Unfortunately, if we look at using that feature as case notes, what do you think about case notes? We're recording anything and everything that we talked about. Spoke to him on Tuesday, need to follow up, talk to him today. And we have a lot of information about that individual, not to mention security, right? Because we need to make sure those things are locked down. But if you're looking at our activities, we know, number one, archiving. Activity records archive after a year, so they're not going to automatically display in a row. We're going to have to click into a different feature to open those up. We know that there is a maximum character length, so you can't just keep entering. We also know that with these, again, going back to that security, making sure that we can lock those down. I do believe the last time I've configured activity security, it's a little roundabout way of making sure that those activities are opened up to the right folks. In the best interest of our clients, when I'm talking to that person, I am the guardian of your timeline and your budget. So let's make sure that we're working things correctly the first time so that we can prevent rework. So what was our feature last time I spoke? 1, 10, 100. Each time that you make it to a different stage and have to rework, it's multiplied by 100. And we just want to prevent that, right? Next, AI readiness, because AI is everywhere, right? In Salesforce, enterprise AI readiness and consumption economics is a large thing to just think about and digest, and to make sure that you as an organization, specifically nonprofit organizations, they need to examine, even though they are very eager to automate their operations, that AI readiness requires strict BA governance. First, AI operates on simple procedure, and I think this goes very well for our reporting. Garbage in, garbage out. That autonomous agent is going to rely entirely on clean data, and context that within Data Cloud and other core CRM objects. If your data model is fragmented or object permission boundaries are poorly defined, an AI agent will execute flawed business logic faster while outputting hallucinated actions. Has anybody heard of hallucinations in AI? Second, and most importantly for BAs, understanding the Salesforce's token economics. The modern AI platform has introduced a shift from the traditional seat-based license, right? One license per user, to also include token-based usage and credits. So if I run a query in my agent and it hits 6 tokens for one query, every time I do that, we got to multiply it by 6. And as a nonprofit, when you can't estimate or plan for the usage of credits and tokens, that could be fatal to their budget. This introduces that financial risk. If an unguided automated agent enters an infinite loop or processes high volumes without guardrails, again, operational costs can spike unexpectedly. The strategic BA, us, protects the client's bottom line by calculating true financial ROI before enabling those autonomous automations. We're also going to establish that strict token consumption thresholds and usage caps, as well as configuring automated safeguard loops and real-time audit triggers. As a nonprofit, if that's something that you can look in, is that something that we can use? Is that something that we can budget? Is that something that's going to be consistent every time? Then look to implementing that. Next is our 5 pillars of strategic leadership. Again, anchor in that business outcome. We're going to align technical user stories directly to documented baseline KPIs and in that BACCM framework. We're going to protect our domain boundaries. Again, decoupling that solution architecture owned by the BA and the project delivery owned by the PM. We're going to modernize responsibility. Use operational discovery and case notes in the case of Health Cloud to guide our clients towards that native industry architecture. Governance, AI, and token economics. We're going to guarantee clean data foundation and enforce financial consumption controls on platforms such as Agentforce. Finally, we're going to prove value continuously. We're going to conduct those 30, 60, and 90-day post-implementation audits to validate that our ROI is true. With these 5 master pillars, we're transforming our career from a traditional requirements writer into a strategic leader. Thank you so much for your time and participation today. I do have, did it make it? Yeah. I do have a QR code. This takes you to my LinkedIn. If you guys want to connect, just scan that. If it doesn't work right now, please let me know. I did test it out earlier and it worked. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? That's my normal. Questions, thoughts, concerns.
Mm.
We don't have concerns today, right?
I see a question in the chat. Would someone like to bring
Yeah.
forth their question?
I have, and I would totally butcher your name. I apologize. Looking at how Salesforce CRM has evolved into agentic CR platform, what are the vital clouds that you would advise Salesforce enthusiasts to focus on to remain relevant and competitive in the workplace and job market? In my experience, your relevant clouds would be Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. Those are your basics. And then if you wanted to go into something specialized, um, Marketing Cloud, if that's what they call it these days, because I don't think that's what it is. Let me find the real name. It's been a minute since I've been in. They call it Agentforce Marketing. That one's actually really fun to work in. I've done a little bit of work in it. The Revenue Cloud, which is also named something different now too, because they're rebranding everything. Revenue management.
Interesting.
But like their sales cycles, anything to do with their sales cycles. Marketing Cloud is very useful. There's field service that goes into like dispatching and things. Like if you had a delivery platform, CPQ is something your quote product CPQ. Sorry, that's backwards. Good dyslexia. Good dyslexia today. CPQ. Configure pricing quote. Sorry. Yes. But ultimately the first tier to getting and learning things within Salesforce is your administrator exam. That's going to teach you the foundations, and then things build in from there. But they do have a BA. Gosh, and there's so many because I've been a BA, I've done Sales Cloud, I've done nonprofit, and then it goes into like the ever growing world of, do you want to be an architect? Do you want to do solutions? Do you want to do commerce? Do you want to do business to business? Right. So, all the things. Is Trailblazer sufficient when preparing? I use the Trailblazer platform to do the learning. And if you don't know Salesforce, they've gamified it. So you go through and you learn things and then you get to implement things and it guides you step by step, but you earn badges as you go along. I think I have like 15,000 points, right? You can get points to do it and you can be like the expert learning. There's so many things about the Salesforce community that drew to me was the community, right? Because not everybody knows everything. Um, in addition to learning through Trailblazer, there are different exam prep platforms that I continuously use. And I'm going to get the actually, I don't want to give you names because I don't want to influence you the way I did. There are programs that can teach you and take you through study guides, study groups, and then how to get certified. There are different groups that can show you like what you need to interview as a fresher, somebody that's new to Salesforce. So do your due diligence on checking things out. In COVID, when I learned about Salesforce, my stepsister told me that it was fake. However, my big sister's like, no, there's a building down the road in Indianapolis. So I went ahead, I checked it out, and I just kind of jumped feet first when we were in COVID. And now I'm a business analyst and I love it.
And you're a great business analyst. I got Ashley recruited to come to work for the company I work for because I saw her in the SDLC last year, and it's like we want her. So Ashley, I've got some questions for you. Thinking about people that they don't know what Salesforce does. You gave us really great information for people that have some understanding, but let's go back to the very beginning.
Sure.
Salesforce can be used for call centers.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, everything starts with the foundation that it's a cloud-based CRM, right? It's going to
Okay.
hold your data. It's
Tell
going
them
to
what a
hold.
CRM is.
Don't ask me when it meets.
Is it customer
Customer
relationship management?
relationship manager is what I believe it stands for.
So it's going to have information like whenever
Right.
someone calls in, it's going to pop up their name on the screen. It's going to say this person's called 14 times in the last 2 days.
It sure
This
can.
customer has purchased this much from us. So it's going to have
Yeah.
all
So
the
it's going
things
to
that you would
store
need.
all of your interactions. Again, when we say 360-degree view of that person, whether it's in sales or service or in the nonprofit, right? We have Thea. Thea contacted us first 2 years ago. She has donated every month $20. Her lifetime donations is this. She also volunteers for us, right? So it's everything about the things that you're tracking, whether they're people and they've had services, whether there's programs that you're having. It's however you configure it, but you're going to be able to tie all of those things together so that you can see the 360-degree view of
Mm-hmm.
that person, place, program, etc. And the integrations that you can add to that, again, you said call center, there's telephony integrations that you can do. If you have a form and a survey that you need to send out, that's going to be filled in externally and that data is going to be pulled back in. Um,
So it's kind of like a dashboard that you can say, this is what I need to know, and it will pull the information in from all the places it needs to pull in.
yes.
Okay. So call centers, if you're selling products, if
Yeah.
you're running salesmen, I mean, almost any scenario I've seen Salesforce used, right? Is there any limitations on Salesforce that we know of at this time?
It used to be they didn't have an ETL tool, but like I said, they recently
Yeah.
bought MuleSoft and they
Uh-huh.
bought
Yep.
Informatica. And I haven't seen how they've implemented it in their systems, but that was their one big glaring thing against the Dynamics world, because we have Azure services and ADF and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah.
They bought MuleSoft and Informatica. They bought Slack because of Microsoft's Teams. So
Right.
it's funny how each one will buy one thing and buy the other kind of thing. Or
So,
the adage was Microsoft bought LinkedIn, so Salesforce couldn't have it.
Oh,
yep.
A while back.
So what does MuleSoft give them?
It's an ETL tool. It allows them to do integrations and migrations from one system to the other. It
Okay.
and Informatica is a big platform. They have a lot of connectors available for all different kinds of systems. It
So
was
it's
just
kind of
funny
like,
to see Salesforce buy it. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like it's got octopus arms and it's able to go out and get the information it needs and
correct.
gives it to you. Okay. So next question, Ashley, from a newbie perspective, you talked about tokens. Is token like a credit? Like I'm going to use what can I think of? I'm gonna put, let's call it apples. I've got a box and I'm going to put apples in the box and I've got to pay for each apple. And at a
Mhm.
certain limit, it's going to either raise the price per apple or lower the price per apple. But that's kind of behind the scenes and it's easy to get too many apples for our budget, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're buying a, a finite number of tokens per month,
Mhm.
per year, however. Um, but you don't know, right? Because a token in the AI realm of things is if it's going to search and hit a keyword. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, if you have that AI agent looking and it hits six of them, you're gonna it's not consistent per
Okay.
what you're asking or how that interaction goes, right? Because how long was the chat? How many questions were asked? How many
Mm.
things do we need to reference inside the agent and pull that information out? Um, I'm going to say your name wrong, but Masatoshi, his comment says the licensing model appears to be moving toward a consumption based token pricing
Mm-hmm.
model, likely driven by the growing share of cost associated with LLM interference in processing. For enterprises planning their budget, should the business case be evaluated primarily against human labor cost and productivity gains rather than against traditional software licensing expense? Or does it have more appropriate to treat generative AI as a software tool and compare it with conventional IT spending? Um, I don't believe I'm that qualified to speak on that. I just because I don't want to tell you wrong,
Well,
right? I mean, I am an
yeah.
expert at implementing, but want to make sure that I'm giving them the right
Mm.
answer. So, but I would definitely do your homework on, is it looking per seats? Because if I have a small nonprofit and there's only 10 users, Salesforce already gives you 10 free user licenses.
mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm.
So if I'm looking at a larger organization, again, I think it's the best to look at it in all different ways and be our greatest business analyst, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that would be my answer.
Mm.
I, I have
I
literally,
could tell you this. Sorry, I'll chime in just a second
Yeah.
with the
no, go
AI
ahead. Go ahead.
is working with Microsoft, Salesforce, and Creatio and AI in general. Nobody has figured out the tokens. Nobody's figured out how to charge. Nobody's figured out how to use. They're all playing a guessing game right now because you can ask one
So
question.
true.
We've and go through 10,000 tokens if you're not careful, and nobody can explain the reason when, why, or how. I equivalate it to going to the carnival in the old days. Remember, you used to spend $10 and get so many tickets, and
Uh-huh.
it's that disconnect because you use tickets to ride a ride, but you don't realize just how much those tickets cost. And
Yeah.
there's
Right.
such a disconnect. And people think, oh, one token is one AI job, and it's not. You can run one AI agent and kill a million tokens depending on
Yep.
what you're doing with it. It's crazy. It's very hard to do.
It
Seamus
is.
might have more because I know he plays more in the AI realm, but it's a constant battle to try and quote anything in sales about tokens because nobody
Yep.
has an answer. Nobody.
I've literally seen directors and VPs panic running down the hallway to go tell somebody, we busted our budget, because
Mhm.
it was a shock, not a planned surprise, and it's kind of scary. But being forewarned is being forearmed.
Mhm.
Yes.
Seamus, do you want to talk about tokens for us for a few minutes?
Mhm.
Characters?
4 characters is 1 token. Oh, goody.
Mute.
Okay,
Wow.
Seamus.
Me? I'm about to use this audio. You can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Awesome. So how in detail do you want to go into AI? Because I pretty much live and create prompts for all of our desktop applications, the back end. Um, just to give you
Do me a
guys,
favor and approach it from these guys don't know anything about tokens. What
Alan.
do they need to know?
all right, perfect. So when you think of tokens, think of as like a currency for it to interact with LLM. So one of the biggest things is efficiency. We've been always using plain text, which means like hello, no, there's nothing behind the scene. We have a thing called markdown format. Has anybody heard of it before? It could be like this. I'm gonna show you guys one of the best consuming. Let's see. And I'll put it into the comments. Does anybody know H1, H2, H3 headers and basic HTML?
Been a while.
Or how about this? In Word, you have those headings. One is H1,
Mm-hmm.
right? The header one. H2 is a little bit more like getting to labels, and then you have sub-labels. So
Okay.
AI and AI language, being able to understand markdown language when you talk to AI is one of the cheapest ways for AI to work with. You're probably looking at higher efficiency of conversating with it. One of the things that a lot of people are going to start getting really good at is taking documents you have at work, right? And then take a knowledge base, ask AI to help you create it into almost like a organized dictionary with all information with this type of structure. Instead of having all that in plain text, your AI is always, if you don't do this, is gonna try to read every single line in everything that you wrote. Imagine how much that costs every single time to read it. Now imagine you already took all the text and made a whole knowledge base about everything in that area. With that one chat you can do directly with it, you're already saving around 75% in token cost. And it's going to save every time you look at those usages, you're going to be seeing you can also help other people learn this. The cool part about this is the cheaper the token usages you get for other people, you're saving the company money. So we're getting this age now where the coolest thing about working at my firm, I get to help on the monthly pricing of everybody's token. So I see everybody's, how they're using token and limits. One of the biggest thing now that we're noticing is if you can be at your company who uses a lot of AI, but can teach other people and you find out ways to make it cheaper to interact with AI, you will be ahead of over any other business analyst just from that right there ahead. People are at my company are figuring out ways to do how to do things cheaper and more effectively. So as you start doing this more effective, make it cheaper, you can showcase this to your company. Hey, you're saving this much. You teach other people how to do this, but you're also learning how to talk to AI better and your documents. Cool part about this is you get more comfortable, using AI, looking at different ways of researching how token cost can be cheaper and talk and interact with AI. You will also learn how to start making dictionaries of all the data, all the information. So imagine you have 10 different resources and documents. You would take all that, build yourself a full knowledge of every single thing in there. AI will use it as a dictionary, especially when you mix it with markdown language. You will start seeing this become, this is what I would say is like a senior level of understanding AI is once it gets to markdown language.
Okay, Seamus, I'm going to interrupt you there because we want to
Yep.
be sure that we finish what we have to do for Salesforce. But Salesforce is incorporated AI, right? And so we have to be aware of the tokens. We've got to be aware of the AI, and then Salesforce is like the skeleton that everything is running in. Is that right, Ashley?
Skeleton. Can you use a different word?
Structure?
Yes.
Okay, structure. Okay. Seamus, I apologize for cutting you off, but I know how passionate you get about AI. And
Can you speak on this?
Oh, I can actually talk
I
something
will
really
listen.
cool. So something really cool, 'cause I at my company we do a Salesforce. Something that you could do too at your company was super cool. So on Salesforce side, like once you understand developer APIs, everything like that, right? You can get OAuth 2.0. That's like an authentication with it, right? You pretty much just all the permissions you can give on the API or give it right to the agent. The coolest part about this is imagine that you can connect to everything across your Salesforce with that API and one of the Claude agents. We've built something out like that for a lot of our people who are working on Salesforce. So imagine being able to run duplicate reports. We had people
Mm,
right now doing duplicate reports of leads and all that. So
yes.
something that would be an awesome hint and something that a lot of people love is understand how to get the API from Salesforce, connect it with Claude, and then on top of that, you can start figuring out things of health checks, lead generation reports. You can take all the data with that agent on Salesforce and connect them all together and chat with anything you want. You can turn them into beautiful diagrams. You can do anything like that. So that's something for people to think about as we get to this age of AI is think of how you can connect these different huge applications. And bigger companies like Salesforce are investing a lot of money of making it easier for your AI agent to access it. Once you access it, you can build it, you can send out different things to different people across your company. So that's something to think about. And the what you can do with AI and Salesforce is now incredible. So awesome.
very nice. Thank you.
I love it.
Okay. Um, the way to go learn the basics of Salesforce. What is that tool called, Ashley?
That is trailhead.org, although they've
Trailhead.
updated. Now it's called trailheadacademy.salesforce.com.
Okay, and you can
Let's put
start
that in.
that free, right?
That is totally free.
Totally free. So you start this thing and you get something under your belt where you get a basic understanding and throw that on your resume
Oh,
and on your LinkedIn
I
profile.
spelled it wrong. Trail.
Okay? And then Seamus, for them to understand the basics of what you were just talking about, is there a resource that they can go to?
Yes, there's a lot of good YouTube videos out there for a lot of people. Like find something that you're really passionate about or something that you feel at work, even in anything AI related that you just feel really curious about that could help other teammates. Just something you're passionate about with it too. You will learn a lot just from that. I will say that. And really take on some projects just like yourself. Find something that that's something passionate do outside of work, combine together. And imagine you can bring that back to work. And then you can have other people be enablers as well and also do really good with what they do at work every day. So
Okay, very good. Well, Ashley and Seamus both. Ashley, thank you for your Salesforce presentation. Seamus,
Yeah.
thank you for adding in the information. Seamus, you've got questions in the chat, just so you know. Ashley, you have brought us a very good, rounded understanding of what Salesforce is capable of. I'm really impressed with what you've been able to accomplish, and thank you for bringing the opportunities to us so that we're
Yes,
aware of those opportunities.
of
Uh,
course.
Ladies and gentlemen, give them both a round of applause, Ashley and Steamus. Thank you so much for your input, your consideration. Ashley, thank you for presenting your presentation. I look forward to next week. I should be able to tell you what we're doing next week, but I can't tell you because my brain is fried. Uh, next week we have good people coming. Let me tell
Tom
you.
Tomasek. I
Tom
don't know how to
Thompson,
say his last name. Here you
Tom
go.
Tom Tomovich, I think is it. Tom has created an AI agent of himself, and he will teach you how to do business analysis with his AI agent. You basically have his agent and you can ask it questions. How do I do this? What do I do next? He's very passionate about his agent. So I'm really excited to have him come talk to us next week. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or come back and see us next week for another free event. And guys, if this is beneficial to you, tell other people. We can only benefit the people that come see us. So let people know that this is here. We are here every single Thursday night until Thanksgiving, and then we're going to take a few well-deserved weeks off, and then we'll start again in 2027. If you're interested in being a member of the Tampa Bay IIBA, reach out to me. If you're interested in volunteering or being on our board of directors, reach out to me. My name is Thea Soren. I will talk to you next week or before. Thank you guys. Bye.